strap yourselves in. I'm not happy. We'll start off with the good news, will we? We'll start off with the good news for those who came in early. The good news, my friends, is that Macca's back. The 3-card, red card, 3-game suspension has been lifted. Common sense has prevailed, and Alexis Mac Allister is cleared to play for Liverpool moving forward. No ban for the Newcastle game. We do have Alexis available. Good stuff. Happy days. Now we can go with that sexy midfield that we've been looking forward to with Endo, McAllister and Szoboszlai. I'm buzzing about it. It's a real boost for us ahead of a tricky game against Newcastle at St James's Park. So yeah, that's the good news for today. The bad news, well, the bad news is it's getting a little bit frustrating with the transfer news. Again, another day's gone by and all we're seeing is players we ain't signing. So for instance, there has been something from ESPN Brazil very, very recently that said Jurgen Klopp will go in search of an alternative midfielder now that a failed move for André has taken place. The feeling is that they will not return for the player in January. So that's coming from ESPN. Now, that's not coming from Jurgen. It's not gospel, but that's where we're at. And I will go through that whole André situation in more detail as we fill up and people come into the chat. This video is sponsored by Manscaped, the best in men's grooming. Manscaped is known for their elite bald skills, a little bit like myself. But with the beard hedger, they're helping people notice that pretty face too. Our friends at Manscaped are now focusing on their off-the-ball movement with their Beard Hedger Pro Kit. The Beard Hedger Face Trimmer is a waterproof, cordless trimmer which has 20 haircutting lengths, all with just one guard, so no more messy drawers full of extra add-ons. The trimmer has a titanium-coated T-blade which is tough on hair but smooth on your face. Just because Manscaped have moved away from the groin doesn't mean they've lost track of the ball. Unlike Joe Gomez. They still have the Lawnmower 4.0, the best hygiene tool to help you keep the grass on the pitch the perfect length. The Lawnmower 4.0's ceramic blade reduces cuts and nicks in your most sensitive areas. Unlike me, the trimmer's battery lasts 90 minutes, meaning you could shave your nether regions the length of an entire match if you wanted. You can get a wide range of packages and products at manscaped.com. What's more, you can get 20% off and free delivery using our code Anfield20 at manscaped.com. Celebrate the new season of the beautiful game with your newly beautiful balls and face. I don't know why they say newly beautiful. My face is always beautiful. Look at it. It's amazing. He has a buyout clause. Yes, indeed, Dave, he does. The buyout clause for André, as I'm sure you're aware, my friend, is €40 million. And Liverpool, for weird reasons, don't seem to want to activate that. And that's what makes me very confused. Right now, André is part of a Fluminense team that are in the quarterfinals of the Copa Libertadores, and they want to try and win that competition. It's their Champions League. It's an absolutely massive thing. And they want to win it, and they want to keep their best players. So I get it. But Liverpool could also, as our friend has mentioned, just go in and pay that €40 million, trigger the release clause, and buy the kid. So again, I'm very confused. Like, I don't mind if Liverpool don't do it now and €30 million isn't going to get it done and Fluminense want to keep him. I get that. But what I don't get is the feeling that Liverpool won't go back in January. That's the part I don't understand, when apparently he's going to be available for about £17 million. Weird, right? So it says, with the refusal of the Rio de Janeiro club, the team coached by Jurgen Klopp will go in search of a new name. The trend, according to ESPN, is that the English do not return in January transfer window in search of André. It's all getting very frustrating, right? So one day we're going after Ryan Gravenberch. Then it's Ryan Gravenberch isn't for sale because Bayern Munich don't want to sell him. Then it's let's go for André. But he's got a €40 million release clause. Let's offer 30. They don't want 30. They want to keep him unless you trigger the release clause. Okay, let's walk away. What's going on? Because I tell you what isn't acceptable to me, and I'm sure to any of you guys watching, is that we let this transfer window slip by and we don't get the signatures we need. It's absolute nonsense. Youth coaching DK said, according to the Brazilian journalist Amanda Luiz, Liverpool have agreed personal terms with André. That's the important part, though, is the club. So let's say you're right, my friend, and we've agreed personal terms. It makes it even more confusing why we don't just trigger the release clause, right? Because if Liverpool don't want to wait till January, then you pay the €40 million. It's very confusing at the minute because I don't understand again why, if we want the player, Andy has a release clause, we are doing this dance of still offering less than the release clause. Have we not learned lessons about valuations? We did this with Lavia and he ended up at Chelsea because we wouldn't get to the 50. This dude, we don't even have to negotiate if we pay the release clause. So what are we at? We either want the kid or we don't. So again, my question to those who are in recruitment at Liverpool is, what have you assholes been doing all summer? Genuine question. What have you been doing all summer? Because it's now the 22nd of August and we're still sitting here with 3 signings to replace 8 outgoings, and it's just not going to cut the mustard. Who's running our transfers and what are they at? Because again, John, you can't cheap out on us, bud. We know that you had 111 million. So we want it spent, and walking away from more deals isn't going to do it. If Klopp wants André, pay the money and get the kid. If we don't, then we haven't got time to waste. Move on. And do you know what else I've seen? I've seen more crap started to come out from the FSG mouthpieces that have been saying things like, well, with Joel Matip and Joe Gomez staying at the club this summer, maybe Liverpool don't need a centre-back. Yes, we do. We absolutely do. And here's the hint. Jurgen told you we needed one. I'm again baffled. Baffled at what's going on. Here. And now this is absolute nonsense. Oh, for the love of... This is genuine, what I'm about to read out now. I can't believe the Premier League. Honestly, lads, get your head together. So here's the official for the game against Newcastle. Referee John Brooks. Assistants Lee Betts and Ackelhausen. 4th official Craig Pawson. Guess who's on VAR? Stuart Atwell. Another one. And guess who's the assistant VAR? Konstantin Hatzidakis. The one who was involved in the VAR last week that didn't do anything, but yet allowed Alexis Mac Allister's red card to stand during the game. These lads are absolute morons. Honestly, the PGMOL need to get their stuff together because this is appalling. This is absolutely farcical. That official, Konstantin Hatzidakis, the one that got away with assaulting Andy Robertson and was part of a VAR team last week that did absolutely nothing, is being installed as the assistant VAR for a game against Newcastle. It's like they're trying to rile us up. It's pathetic. Callum said, so I'm guessing there's no fine or punishment for the referees or VAR for McAllister's red. No, mate. They're above reproach. You don't get to punish them. They just do what they want. They're a cartel at this point. PGMOL and these officials can just do what they want, make crap decision after crap decision week after week without any consequence to themselves, and the rest of us just have to swallow it. And it doesn't matter what club you support, I guarantee you, with 2 games gone in the Premier League, you already have at least 2 instances of VAR decisions or refereeing decisions that you know are blatantly wrong, but you've had to swallow. It's nonsense. And they've done it again. They've stuck this lad as the assistant match VAR. Have you not learned your lesson? The idiot did nothing last week when he was sitting there looking at Pornhub with Tierney when they should have been saying to themselves, hang on a minute, the ref got this really wrong. Let's ask him to go to the monitor. But he didn't. And we all know why he didn't. So stop treating us like mugs. The lads, they shouldn't be near a Liverpool game after last week. This is shaping up like it's going to be a scramble on the last day of the window. That's okay if it comes off, but let it be very clear to the owners, you don't have wiggle room anymore. You don't have people that are going to just swallow this as the window. You have 10 days to get it right, and getting it right means at least 2 more signings, a centre back and a midfielder. Honestly, I don't know what they've been at. It's idiocy. It's embarrassing that we are still going around trying to get players this late in a window that we had a year to plan for. Make it make sense. Wonder Natasha said, what do you think of the situation with Mason Mount at Manchester United? No, with Mason. Hang on, which Mason? Which Mason? Mount or Greenwood? I like the kid despite the issues he had and think long term he might be useful. Loan for now. So I take it you're talking about Greenwood. Looking at it from the outside, I don't see the upside to United keeping him in any way, shape or form. It's always going to be a stick that could be used to beat United with by any opposition fans. And if he stayed, no matter how long it is till he comes back, he'd be in for it wherever he goes. Any away stadium, he'd be absolutely abused, but rightly abused in my opinion. So I think I never understood how it got this far. The common sense thing to do was draw a line under it. Move him on. Sell him, whatever it is, move him on, and let United move on and get a clean break from it, because it's not been a good look for the club from a PR perspective. Not here to take cheap shots. I understand it's also a very difficult, delicate situation with potential legal ramifications alongside it. So I think the right decision has been come to. I think him to move on elsewhere is the best for all parties concerned. That's what I'd say. What's happening with Gravenberch and Decore? So the Gravenberch situation it's like banging your head against the wall. Because you get told Liverpool are fans of Gravenberch. Liverpool are interested in Gravenberch. Liverpool are looking at Gravenberch. Liverpool are monitoring Gravenberch. Liverpool are inquiring about Gravenberch. But then you hear Bayern Munich say he's not for sale. And I think he is for sale. But Bayern have the right to drag this out as long as they want. He's their player. But put a bid in. Show the lads you're trying. Or just go on somewhere else. But we cannot play roulette here. We cannot sit at the end of the window with our knob in our hands again going, uh-oh, that didn't work out. Because we don't have another season to ride off. We've already been through it last year and it wasn't good enough then. This was the summer that you told us you had spent so much time looking at players, leaving no stone unturned, high and wide search, and yet here we are. 2 release clauses triggered and a £16 million player who I'm happy with from Stuttgart. But again, not difficult. So what have we done? The answer, seemingly, is send the lads on a jolly up around Europe, but then just sit there and do nothing. It's really, really frustrating. Because the longer it goes on, the more difficult it's going to be to get the signing done. And again, it's another week, by the way. So even if we get these guys in, there'll be 3 games in the Premier League already underway without the squad being fully strengthened. There could be a scramble here. Let me play you out a scenario that might happen. Fluminense have a 2-legged quarter-final coming up. First leg, I'm not sure if it's today, tomorrow, but the return leg of that quarter-final takes place in the early hours of September the 1st, which is transfer deadline day. So there might even be a mad scenario where if Fluminense were to be knocked out of the Copa Libertadores that day, that Liverpool have a scramble then to try and sign the player before the window closes at 11 that night. It is a bit mad. But then again, if we want them and they're not doing business at 30, I don't understand why you don't go to 40. Because it's only about £36 million. The whole thing stinks to high heaven, as does the Gravenberch links. Again, it's like we're being linked to players that the club can turn around and say, well, we tried, but they didn't want to sell them. And that's unacceptable. It's unacceptable when you've had a year to figure it out. And this is still where we're at. Nathan Allen said, do you think we're missing Michael Edwards because our new director of football, I don't know, but he feels to not do deals quick and bargain deals like Edwards. So, to be fair to George Schmadtke, I think his MO was that he was going to be looking around the German market. And I don't know if it was him that brought Endo to Klopp's attention, if Klopp already liked Endo, which I think he said, and they both had a chat and gone, well, this could be a really good option to solve a headache that so far this window the club haven't been able to solve. So I don't want to go in on George Schmadtke because that doesn't feel fair. But are we missing Michael Edwards? Yes, very much so, my friend. I think even Jamie Carragher said it when he spoke about the whole Caicedo situation. Liverpool's transfer business under Michael Edwards was a well-oiled machine that was correctly lauded around Europe for how we went about our business. Ever since then, but I really don't understand what happened with Julian Ward to make him want to leave that quickly. Maybe it was something personal, I don't know. I'm not going to guess at it, but it's not a great look that we still have a temporary director of football that's contract is due to be up at the end of this window. Especially when you're talking about the big window, the rebuild window. Who's a better in CDM, Endo and McAllister? Endo. McAllister's not a CDM. He can play there because he's just a really, really good footballer who's capable of playing in any midfield position. But I think, myself, Matthew, that we're going to see a completely different performance from Liverpool when McAllister and Szoboszlai are at the front of that midfield. The press, think about this for a second. Salah, Diaz, Gakpo, McAllister and Szoboszlai, all pressing. They are all animals for a press. So I think this will free us up even more. I felt like we were wasting Alexis McAllister with him in the 6 because we weren't getting to see the full value. If you remember in pre-season, you watched Alexis, dare I say David Silva-esque at times in his ability to find space between the lines, to resist the press, and just with him and Szoboszlai, man, it's going to be carnage in a good way for us. Endo will be the new club legend like Divock Origi, said Mark. Mark, I think we're going to love this dude. I really do, mate. Sometimes you sign a player and they just give off vibes that you like Dirk Kuyt, as an example. Just honest as the day is long. The man would run through a brick wall for the manager, and it was a pleasure to watch the dude play football. And I feel like we'll feel that way about Endo as well. And look, I do understand both sides of it. I get that some people think it's a cheap-ass signing after walking away from Caicedo. But if we just look at it from the point of view of, can he do the role he needs to do well enough, then I agree with Klopp. Give him a little bit of time and I think we'll be pleasantly surprised. Who would we want to get to replace Salah next summer? Oh, I'm going to be entirely honest with you, Nathan. I really don't know. I'm almost a bit like an ostrich on this one, mate. I want to bury my hand in the sand on it because I don't want to think about replacing Mo. And I know Klopp has to and the club have to, but I don't want to. I'm not ready to think about losing Mo, in all honesty. And I'm going to just keep living in blissful ignorance for the time being. And I can't think of anybody that I'd be willing or ready to bring in. Obviously, Manchester City have agreed that deal, and Doku's about to sign for them. He's doing his medical. So that's another name that we've been linked with off. There was the kid from, I think it was Eindhoven, was it? Was it Bakayoko that we were linked with? I don't know, man. I don't know, but is there anything Ben Doak can do between now and the end of the season that would convince you he could be a Salah replacement? I think that's a good question. Because I've asked myself this question a lot, and I'm still not sure. Because I believe in Ben Doak long term. I really, really, really do. He looks like a superstar in the making. But I keep coming back to myself and saying, you're asking a bit much of the kid here to potentially take up that mantle of Mohamed Salah at, 18, 19. It's a big ask. And I think, even we as fans, I think it would be very unpalatable for the club to go that route. Because if we sell Mohamed Salah, let's say next summer for, it doesn't really matter for how much, but let's say we sell him, we'll want that money reinvested in another forward. And if we were to hear from the club that Ben Doak is going to be Salah's replacement, that we don't need to replace him, one part of our brains would probably go, I kind of understand that. But another part would say, nah, you're just trying to keep the money. So it's a tough one. It really is a tough one. Let's wait and see. Look, Mitoma would be great, even though he's the wrong side. The dude at AC Milan, who signed a new contract with them at the end of last season, would be amazing as well. Might be worth keeping an eye on Nico Williams at Bilbao. Yeah, I mean, other than that, I'm probably not as up to speed on young wingers as some other people.